Hello everybody. When can a game be considered a success? When it sells a certain number of units, when it reviews well, or when it changes the trajectory of its own franchise? I think any one of these would suffice, and it's not uncommon for a game to exhibit one or all of these factors. However, what does not come around too often is a game that changes the trajectory of its entire genre. I feel like with games like these, labeling them a success feels ill-willed due to how big of an understatement it is branding them just a success. Games like this don't come around often, and bluntly speaking, it can't. So when it does happen, we have to all stand up from our gaming chairs and take notice. I mean, that is what I would do if I, actually had a gaming chair. Anyways, the FPS genre in specific has had a number of these games throughout its 30 plus year history. Games that shaped the foreseeable future of the genre for better or for worse. Games that evolved the genre or set it on track to eventually almost kill itself. But there is only one game that can be considered the FPS savior. It is this one game that single-handedly saved the FPS genre and set in motion a renaissance the likes of which has only ever been replicated by the Sonic the Hedgehog series. A rejuvenation which would lead to a new subgenre in the FPS community known as boomer shooters, an overall increase in genre quality, and eventually the creation of the greatest first-person shooter of all time. But that's a story for another day. It's fitting that the series the game in question comes from is the one responsible for saving the genre, as it was also the one that helped create it. The game in question, Wolfenstein: The New Order. Firstly, I just want to give the obligatory spoiler warning. I am going to be spoiling the ever-living heck out of this game. You know what to do to combat that. And if you don't, I'm sorry. Now, to understand why this game saved the genre, we must first be familiarized with the landscape of the FPS genre around the late 2000s and early 2010s. Now, explaining this is no easy task, as it requires a lot of new COD clones. Everywhere. They are everywhere. Run. Abandon ship. Women and children first. They are everywhere, and they are slowly running the genre to the ground. There's just so many uninspired FPS releases that are copying the COD formula. And hey, look, I'm not trying to stir stuff up here. I'm not saying that all of those so-called COD clones were bad games. Also, it's completely normal, like, with the success that COD 4 attained, I could definitely understand why so many developers wanted in on that success and chose to copy a tried and tested formula rather than take risks innovating, because at the end of the day, it's easier, guaranteed, and it's less work to attain success. Successful games will always create imitators. Cough cough, Doom clones in the 90s, cough cough. But I feel like other than a couple outliers, by 2014 the situation had spiraled out of control with so many games feeling by and large the same. Remember, this was 7 years after the release of COD 4, so it's safe to say people were tired. They needed something else. They needed something different, a breath of fresh air. They needed that next step. So when Wolfenstein: The New Order released in 2014 amidst all these COD clones, it truly felt like the jolt of electricity that the FPS genre needed to wake up. Now, there's two things that all of you are probably asking right now. One, how does your hair smell like? Probably chlorine, considering I spent half of my life in the pool. And two, what makes this game so special that it saved the entire genre? Well, let's dive in and I'll do my best to explain, but no promises. Right off the bat, I love this title screen so much. First of all, they picked like the best shade of red possible, Garibaldi red. At least, I think that's Garibaldi red. Is it? Well, whatever shade of red it is, it's absolutely beautiful. And before I leave this part of the video behind, because I know it's going to happen, don't you clowns, even for a millisecond, go down to the comments and start arguing about why Garibaldi red isn't the best shade of red. I know you're gonna do it, so just don't, okay? We got a long video ahead of us, so let's not start this early, okay? Also, it's definitely not my bias speaking when I say that Garibaldi red is the best shade of red. Also, these specks of dust, I think they are, just look so beautiful. Honestly, you can tell that this game is going to be different from the moment you enter this. Also, I think I would probably have my nuts chopped off by a German Shepherd if I didn't mention this music at display here. Simple version of why this is awesome. It's Mick goddamn Gordon. What did you expect? A little bit longer version of why it's awesome. The second the title screen opens up, the first thing you hear is a drum and then bam, the beat drops and you get this sort of perplexing song that makes you feel tired, honestly, more than anything. This sense of dread overwhelms you, like you've woken up in an actual nightmare and you have no choice but to fight a battle you have no hope of winning. Well, that's how I feel whenever I hear the song, but if I had to pick who this song and all the emotions it encompasses represents, it would have to be none other than the man himself, Doomguy's grandpa maybe, William Joseph Blazkowicz, or BJ. Oh, there he is. Why are you so serious, bro? We're about to play one of the greatest first-person shooters ever made. I'd lighten up if I were you. Shh, it's gonna be okay. You get to do it with a Polish chick. Also, if you think for 1 second that I'm gonna call him William Joseph Blazkowicz over BJ, I only have one thing to ask you. Can I have some of what you're having? Look, if there's anybody in this game that is feeling perplexed, tired, and overwhelmed with dread, it's this man right here. So I think this title theme does a superb job at representing what BJ is predominantly feeling. Also, a neat detail about the song is how it starts all energetic, but that energy slowly fades away until there is pretty much nothing left in the latter half of the song, which could represent the hope slowly fading in BJ as the game goes on and he realizes the true scale of what he is fighting, among countless other things. Well, I guess it's time to start the campaign. Oh wait, got to pick my difficulty first. You know what, I'm not really in the mood for a challenge. I think I'm just gonna go with the easiest difficulty setting. It makes me so happy that the game won't make fun of me for picking very easy mode. And so begins my favorite opening level in FPS history. Yeah, it's that good. It's without a doubt the best level in the game, which is odd considering it's the opening level. Like, you don't really see that too much in video games. Also, before we get too far ahead, I'd quickly just like to talk about the collectibles that are found in this game. We have 5 different categories here. The first one being your classical concept art. It's just concept art of the game. Next, we have golden items, which are just random items like goblets, eggs, or books made of gold. Then we have letters/recordings. I'm grouping them together as they're essentially 2 different versions of the same thing, that being lore dump devices. They both tell the stories of other characters, thereby expanding the lore of the game. Penultimately, we have records, which are just music made by an in-game records company, making them lore-friendly songs, i.e. they exist in the game's universe. At least I assume they do. Finally, we have the Enigma codes. Definitely the most tangible collectible in terms of reward you receive for collecting them. These things are codes, so you can encrypt more as you collect them, and eventually when you do collect enough, you can unlock a special game mode. There are 4 in total, and all of them are pretty crazy, but at least here they didn't lock an achievement behind the Iron Man game mode, unlike in the new Colossus, which I'm sure even the mention of is enough to give some people PTSD. So, this level opens up with the game telling us to get psyched, just like in the prequel, but the prequel was made after, so doesn't that make the prequel the sequel, which in turn makes the successor the predecessor? This is also followed by a man being woken up from a much needed nap. All we can do is hope that he can continue it later. Also, shout out to this guy, who legends say is still holding his piss in. Firstly, can we just appreciate the art design? It just looks incredibly appealing. The graphics are not going for a realistic look, they're going for that artistic look, which has helped this game stand the test of time when it comes to the visuals, as they still hold up more than 10 years later. So after a rough landing on the beach, we are treated to a very warm welcome by whatever this thing is supposed to be. Now we have to promptly communicate our displeasure at its behavior the old-fashioned way. On the way, we do our best Adam Peaty impression and get bounced off underwater by the foot of something that I hope won't end up being a boss later on. After rendezvousing with the team, we rush on ahead first towards enemy lines, and can I just say, man, is the shooting in this game just like the best thing. It's the best thing. I love this so much. It just feels so satisfying, so meaty, and so impactful to kill things in this game. Especially the dual wielding. My goodness, the dual wielding. The pinnacle of gaming is unloading your dual assault rifles onto a small cluster of enemies in an interior location. Oof! I have no more words, because if I speak more, I think this video might end up getting demonetized. Ooh, what do we have here? Your big legs don't look so big anymore, do they, tough guy? Haha, can't hit me in here. On second thought, I must go. My people need me. I'll be honest, the ambience in this part of the level is actually quite appealing. Look at this, man. How cool is this section? You're going up vertically, shooting enemies through the window as a gigantic airplane that definitely looks like it belongs nowhere near 1946 comes ramming into this castle. Now that I think about it, this entire game belongs nowhere near 1946 or 1960. Also, I'd like to point out the absolute incompetence of the military here. Not one other dude made it up here, well, apart from this guy, but he's disqualified, you know, because he's dead. Well, at least he can rest easy knowing that he got a silver medal in Death's Head's compound vertical rock climbing. Also, I'd like to take this stealth section to appreciate the stealth sections in this game. They're all so well designed and possess this really fun concept where you have to kill the commanders, oops sorry my bad, Oberkommandant Sorgant Mondant Kabuljigal without them seeing you first, otherwise they call in reinforcements. Combine these two, and baby, you got a stew going. A stew that contains neat and mind-testing sections of gameplay. Also, it helps that a vast majority of levels are littered with these encounters because that's a lot of game that is good. This section is pretty cool. Nice hidden detail of this officer here explaining to his boss how his life outside of the army is shaping up after recent events.
Ja, selbstverständlich möchte ich gerne befördert werden. Nein, natürlich nicht. Aber sie ist schwanger. Nein, das will ich nicht. Ja, mehr als alles auf der Welt. Zwei, ein Mädchen und ein Junge. Das bedeutet mir alles hier oben.
Too bad it'll be my knocks on the door that his wife will be answering, and not his. What is it with this man and having things fall on his head? We fall and find ourselves in this kinda kinky looking room, but we can't stay here and have fun as we are too hot and the room is about to blow up. What the hell is this supposed to be? Oops, there goes another one. Well, after unloading about 36 mags, he's finally taken care of, and we are now trapped in an even kinkier looking room than before, and our group has only 4 men left. I don't think it's even possible for things to get even worse. I mean, the only way it could is if some crazy scientist whose head looked like a nutsack found us trapped in this room.
What are you people doing in there?
Okay, I kind of asked for that one. When we come to, it's fairly obvious that we are in a situation that is not going to end well. all pinned down by super soldiers and handcuffed. That said, this guy gives us a choice. Choose whose brain he's going to preserve, or he kills everyone. At first I didn't buy it, so I was happy to just waste as much time as possible, but it turns out he wasn't lying. So, you have to make a choice. Who to sacrifice? Fergus has more experience, so keeping him alive would be crucial in the future, but at the same time, Wyatt is young and he is the future. But that won't amount to much if there is no future. But also at the same time, Fergus really needs to piss, so it's really down the middle. The main thing to know here is that who you pick determines what timeline that you get. You either play the Fergus timeline or the Wyatt timeline. There are not one, not two, not four, but three main differences between these two timelines. One being the cutscenes, as the cutscenes involving either character will be different depending on the one you save. The special skill you acquire will be different. Fergus will teach you hacking while Wyatt will teach you lockpicking, resulting in certain small areas and levels being locked off. So if you come across a room with a pickable lock but you're in the Fergus timeline, you won't be able to access it as you didn't save Wyatt. And apparently nobody other than Wyatt has ever taught BJ lockpicking. And finally, and probably the most important difference, is the upgrades. Save Wyatt, you get armor upgrades. Save Fergus, you get health upgrades. Now, if you had to ask me who I would save or who being saved should be canon, I would 100% say that this guy on the left whose feet are broken should be saved, as it's not fair to him. But if you're asking about Fergus and Wyatt, I'd definitely say Wyatt. It just makes more sense to save him. He's young and has potential, and also it's pretty clear that mentally Fergus is ready and okay to die in this moment. He even says so in a cutscene later in the game if you save him. Also, there is a piece of dialogue at the very end of the final level, right before you start the final boss, and this piece of dialogue is so much more satisfying if you save Wyatt over Fergus. So the decision is pretty simple then, right? I'm gonna kill Fergus! Now that's where you're wrong, my child. If this is your first playthrough, you absolutely have to save Fergus. Why? 2 words. Boning. No, sorry. Health upgrades. Health upgrades. Health upgrades are much more beneficial than armor upgrades. So you need to make getting the health upgrades your priority. And you do that by saving Fergus first. Now look, let me tell you. If you go and try, keyword try, to face the final boss without acquiring any health upgrades, you might as well consider yourself soft locked. So look, just do yourself a favor and save the Scottish lad. He can't die holding his piss in, okay? That would be cruel. Or you could let your anti-American hatred take over and save the American boy. Anyway, do whatever you want. I'm not your dad. Or am I? We make our choice, kill a big boy with a pipe, which definitely won't be a significant weapon in the sequel, prequel, successor, predecessor. This is where we get the first example of lockpicking versus hacking, and if I'm gonna be honest, I like hacking more. Half the time, I don't even know what I'm doing while lockpicking. You just stick it in and hope for the best. There's probably a sex joke somewhere in there. Well, we solve it, jump out, and ooh, I'm sure he's fine. Okay, maybe not. On a side note, how does he end up on that piece of wood if he's been knocked out? Also, on another side note, this has got to be like one of the coolest title drops, I mean, is that what they're called, of all time? And so ends Death's Head's Compound, the greatest opening level in FPS history, and you can't say I'm wrong because that's a subjective statement. And it's physically not possible for a subjective statement to be incorrect, well, unless you say that Overwatch actually deserved Game of the Year in 2016, then I think you should probably be sent to jail for spreading harmful propaganda. I don't care what anybody says. In a year where Doom 2016 came out, Overwatch, goddamn Overwatch, the game with the tall-ass purple woman, won Game of the Year. What the hell, Jeff? And this isn't the only time something like this has happened. I'm looking at you 2018 and 2020 amongst others. Might have to make a video on this topic someday, honestly. Usually, the opening level of a game is a tame affair, slowly easing you into the game's mechanics. Most of the time you can really tell that a level is the opening level, as these characteristics help it stick out like a sore thumb. But here, if you told people that this was the final level of the game, they would probably believe you. I think that's why I love this level so much. It doesn't feel like an opening level. FYI, there's nothing wrong with an opening level being a tame affair and easing you into the game mechanics. Life can be pretty crazy. One moment you're unconscious on a log sailing a body of water, and the next thing you know, bang, you're waking up from a 14-year coma by knifing a guy to death. This level is pretty cool, short and sweet. It is also, I believe, like one of only 2 instances where you get to use a sawn-off shotgun, which is kind of a shame. At least we get to use it more in the successor Predator. Okay. No, I'm not gonna do that, don't worry. At this point, it's also a miracle that BJ can walk, let alone go around killing guys and taking bullets from all directions. Now, this level does, however, commit maybe the biggest sin of any level in this game, and that is introducing, without a shadow of a doubt, the single most disgusting, horrible, despicable, annoying enemy in this entire goddamn game. These stupid floating potatoes. And I know what you're gonna say, and no, the German Shepherds are not the worst enemies in this game. These things, they are so mobile, they do so much damage, and on the console they are nigh on impossible to hit. Expect to lose tons of health and ammo when they come up. This is like my only complaint with this game. Did these things really have to be in the game? They just ruin everything whenever they get involved. And before you say that challenge is a good thing, I agree that challenge is a good thing. But this is challenging in the same way that milking a cow's udders with your ass cheeks is challenging, as they offer up a similar level of satisfaction once completed. On a side note, this place looks absolutely gorgeous. You're gonna be hearing that a lot from me for the remainder of this video, FYI. After milking some udders, we put Anya into the car and leg it. And on the way, BJ once again falls asleep. Now, BJ sleeping isn't normally a problem, but this time he's the one driving. Yes, he's driving, despite having regained control of his nervous system about 15 minutes ago. And man, you can tell that this man needs a rest. 14 years wasn't enough. The game opens with him waking up from a nap, for goodness sake. Thankfully, BJ is as good a driver while sleeping as he is awake, and the two of them make it to Anya's grandparents' house, no problem. This scene right here deserves more credit than it gets. It's honestly a strong contender for best scene in the entire game. Might be short, it's less than 2 minutes, but man does it make the most out of its short length with fantastic voice acting, direction and writing. Brian Bloom deserves so much credit for his voice acting in this scene, as he does a superb job at conveying BJ's feelings. Remember at the beginning of the video when I was talking about how the title theme and what it was imbuing and how it represented what BJ was experiencing? Well, if there was ever a time to feel perplexed, tired and dreadful, it's right now. Learning that you've been in a coma for 14 years and that your worst nightmare has become a reality, I mean, just a thought of putting myself in BJ's shoes here fills me with unease and discomfort, so I doubt I could even come close to imagining in my wildest dreams what he must be feeling in this moment. There's so much I could say about this scene. Honestly, I think I'm just going to make a video on this scene alone in the future. This video is already as long as it is, and I don't want to rush anything, but one last thing I will point out is that my boy BJ, despite everything, still tucked the goddamn chair in. The animators went out of their way to animate that, by the way. I still think that's incredible. That says more about character than words ever could. So, BJ heads down to the basement to conduct a peaceful, non-violent negotiation session. I guess violent chainsaw-filled tendencies do run in the family. Can I just say that this old man might have like less than 10 minutes of screen time in the entire series, but his legacy is massive. Being the guy to give BJ this outfit, he deserves to be in the Wolfenstein Hall of Fame. It's like the coolest outfit ever. Also, I don't know if it's just me, But the clocks in this house might be broken, as the one in this room is telling the exact same time that the one in the kitchen was telling in the previous scene.
Alarm! Take my hand.
Yeah, I think he wasn't kidding when he said that he'd find you and hurt you, BJ. Best be careful. Holy moly, is this level beautiful, and this won't be the last time I say this. God bless the environment artists. This game is probably the perfect example as to why art design is so important. Just look at how gorgeous this game still looks after 10 years. Not just that, but the audio design is just as exquisite. I'm someone who loves audio design and ASMR in games, so the fact that I can just leave this game on at this level and just listen to rain is something that just makes me really happy. Honestly, other than that, it's just your typical New Order level. Great combat, great stealth, lots of fun. If you had to describe this game in one sentence, you could probably just use that, honestly. I know I said this just a second ago, but God bless the environment artists. The train, the coffee, even the... Is that milk? Looks so appealing. Also, I will never not get satisfied by how the coffee looks and its moving animation here. Damn, it even has light shining off it. Now, this might be because the game I'm about to mention was my childhood, but am I the only one who thinks this train looks very similar to the train at the beginning of the PlayStation 2 game Full Metal Alchemist and the Broken Angel? Come on, I can't be the only one. But man, did I play the hell out of that game. Oh, it was the best.
Das Foto, das sie erregt.
I'll show you what excites me the most. I'm sorry, I couldn't resist. Even the light being emitted by the lamps is beautiful. Is this foreshadowing the moon level? If anybody knows German, feel free to translate in the comments. I assume this one on the bottom right says no smoking, but the guy was literally smoking in the scene like 70 seconds ago. Okay, I see where this is going. Now, I don't know what YouTube's monetization policy is, but something tells me they wouldn't be too fond of what follows. Look, I don't need to show you. You know what's going to happen, and if you really want to see it, just go buy the game and play it. It's not too far in any way. Also, cool detail at the very start here, the guy on the speaker says that the final destination of the train is annexed Croatia, which is once again another instance of level foreshadowing, as the level Camp Belice takes place in annexed Croatia. Love the coloring here in this hotel room at the start of the level. The beginning of this level honestly leaves me speechless every time. Whenever I play this level, I always spend a good few minutes here at the beginning taking everything in. Just look at this, absolutely beautiful. The skybox, the weather, the gigantic building in the middle, all the crazy concrete buildings with some of the best architecture in gaming. I've said it before and I'll say it again, God bless the environment artists. This is why this is one of the most beautiful looking games I've ever played. Not because of the graphics, but because of this. The environment. Gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous. Just look at all of this. Absolutely beautiful. Also, spoilers, this won't be the last part of the game where whenever I play, I just stop and soak in the environment instead of playing the game. What? Man, these posters are just getting better and better. Doggy? Wish he was whistling Drunken Whaler. Well, that was a pretty piss-weak death. Look, I had to. Okay, I had to. It was too easy. I couldn't resist. Doggy? Man, my guy gave his entire life into that cough-sneeze combination. But I don't understand why this guy is so upset. I'm sure he coughed and sneezed many times while he was alive, bro. I wonder who this could be. Well. The only question I have, is he still holding in his piss? Oh yeah, this is where the fun begins. Also, this is definitely not to say that the level up to this point was anything short of superb, okay? I repeat, I really like the pre-access to guns part of Eisenwald Prison. Okay, he's definitely still holding in his piss. Doggy? The gameplay is just so chunky. I love it so much. Just look at this. Absolutely beautiful. Tell me you don't want to play this game. Doggy? I want to go play with the giant robots, mommy. Why? Okay, that was bullcrap. If BJ is as good at driving as he is shooting, we should be golden. Ah, I went to the wrong car last time. That's why the turrets killed me. Man, that driving section lasted like 9 seconds. I think that might be a new record for the shortest vehicle section in an FPS. Did he really have to do that? Like, the developers went out of their way to add that rock into the game just so Fergus could pick it up and smash the speaker with it. Stormtrooper aim confirmed. No way that rock he used to break the speaker with actually ended up being useful. Okay, before we move on, I have to give Eisenwald Prison its flowers. This level is, after the first level, the best one in the game. It has an absolutely remarkable environment, great character moments and important story significance. It has great stealth, great set pieces, great level design, and the shooting. Holy crap, the shooting. Especially in those interior areas. Chef's kiss. That is my jam. Come to think of it, the best parts of this game are those where you're just allowed to shoot people in cramped interior locations. If there is one thing the New Order and by extension all of the games in the Wolfenstein reboot excel at, it's letting you deck out bad guys in narrow interior locations with dual wielding guns, and I couldn't love this series more for it. Okay, somebody had to say it, Wolfenstein The New Order is a Metroidvania confirmed. Welcome to the Kreisau Circle headquarters, the kinda hub area in this game. There's a total of 4 missions, if you want to even call them that, in this game that takes place in this location, and all but the last one have very minimal combat, and is mainly home to fetch quest-like objectives. They're more like mini-levels, I'd say. Depending on if you saved Wyatt or Fergus, some characters and cutscenes will be altered in certain ways. On a side note, this map looks pretty cool. At the end of the day, these base levels don't really have anything significant to talk about at length, except for one of my favorite things in this game, the nightmare. At the very top floor, you can find a sleeping bag where if you decide to take a good old nap, which, first of all, I think you should considering how much BJ needs one, you spawn in a pretty familiar looking place for Wolfenstein fans. This is, of course, a reference to one of the first FPS games, and the one that helped the genre take off, that of course being Wolfenstein 3D, aka the granddaddy of first-person shooters. At least I assume it's referencing Wolfenstein 3D, don't really think it's referencing Spear of Destiny, but come to think of it, there is a lot of royal blue here. And before you say no, Wolfenstein 3D is not the first FPS game. Neither is it the first FPS game that id worked on. Ever heard of Catacombs 3D? Also, no, Wolfenstein 3D isn't the first Wolfenstein game. That honor goes to Castle Wolfenstein, which apparently is one of the first games to use stealth mechanics. Man, Wolfenstein does not disappoint with its pioneer status in gaming. Also, I don't think I've ever seen publications disagree this much on the quality of a game. A 5 out of 5 by AllGame, a 1.5 out of 5 by Computer Gaming World, and then voted the 116th best game of all time by Computer Gaming World in 1996. Wait a minute, these are the same guys who gave it 1.5 15 years prior! What happened? Did the game like become 15 times better in 15 years? That's 1 time better per year. Yeah, I'm good at maths. I passed intro to calculus. Let's not talk about, with what grade or with what percentage, but I passed. Or was a 1.5 out of 5 game good enough to be the 116th best game ever made back in 1996? If it was, firstly, wow, that's pretty sad actually. And secondly, we have come a longer way in that time period than I thought we had. But who am I kidding? There's no physical way that that's possible. These dum-dums probably wanted to be the cool kids on the block, so they gave it a 1.5 back in 81, and then decided to rate it fairly in 96, seeing that it didn't make them cool. Honestly, sounds like something IGN would do. Who knows though, I've never played the game. For all I know, they might have been right in the 80s, and the game might have sucked big fat lollipops. Where were we? Oh yeah, the nightmare. The song in the background here is the background theme from the very first level of Wolfenstein 3D. Now that I think about it, this whole level is based on the first level of Wolfenstein 3D, isn't it? That would certainly explain the lack of Mein Leben in this level. Final note here, I just love the whole concept of this level, as BJ is essentially having a flashback to the events of the first level of Wolfenstein 3D, therefore making the events of Wolfenstein 3D canon in this reboot. Man, I love this nightmare sequence so much. It's full of charm, heart, and soul. It, amongst a lot of other things, shows that this game was made by people who really cared about what they were doing. I tip my hat off to the genius who managed to install an actual toilet that works down here. It's known that animals can sense things that humans can't, so I like the fact that a dog that has been created evil can sense the good in us and therefore figure out that we're going to be a problem for them while everyone else can't. God bless the environment artists. This looks like the clock tower behind Corvo in the Dishonored cover art. Man, the interior battle zones of the New Order never disappoint. One thing that the level is unfortunately responsible for is the reintroduction of these pricks. They just suck so hard. Why are they here? Yeah, I didn't mention, but at some point we got this laser gun, but it doesn't matter because now we have this gun. Ooh, this has got final combat zone of the level written all over it. Hello, Mr. Giant Robot, ready to have some fun? That was so fast. I think he needs a nap. This scene will be the same regardless of who you save. The only thing changing is who gets pissed off at BJ. I like how BJ's response to having the door be slammed at his face is to stay silent and just get on with it.
Quite a fall there, Mr. Big Cheese.
Also, Big Cheese might be the funniest thing anybody has ever called BJ. That should honestly be his nickname. I actually can't believe it. They put the damn drones in this level too. Why? It's just a little insignificant chill base level. Why did we need it here?
Science project. You're scaring Max.
Sorry. Didn't know we'd flip out like that.
You can really tell that BJ is upset here. It shows that he really does care about the smaller details. Making a child cry gets to him. Even when he is at his lowest, he makes sure to act respectfully, i.e. tucking in the chair at Anya's grandparents' house. When someone is clearly disrespecting him, i.e. Fergus/Wyatt verbally abusing him, he doesn't reciprocate. He cares about the finer details, and it's that quality that makes him such a compelling character to me. He's not some stereotypical, muscular, heartless brute who doesn't care about anything. He actually has a heart and cares. He even collects Max's toys and brings it to him to make up for scaring him earlier. And whenever he does find a toy, he utters a silly little line like another toy on the run.
Another toy on the run.
And showing that he actively enjoys participating in acts of kindness and isn't just doing it reluctantly because he feels like it's his duty. Welcome to the one level in the game that hates guns for some reason. That is because this is the only level in the game where you can't use traditional firearms. If you remember, this is the level I alluded to earlier when I was talking about what the guy on the speaker was saying at the very beginning of Eisenwald Prison. So much for advanced technology. That thing is flimsy as bollocks. God bless the environment artists. The weather is just so beautiful here as well. Kill the knife, you say? I can see where he gets the nickname from. The knife, more like the knifed. Can't believe it's optional to kill this guy. You can let him live if you want, which is pretty uncharacteristic of BJ.
What were you thinking, you stupid idiot?
Wow, something didn't go according to plan in the Wolfenstein universe. I guess you could say that's pretty shocking. I'll see myself out. It really is a Metroidvania.
Would you deliver this note to Anya?
Hey, she's like 1 meter across the room. You couldn't deliver the note yourself? Man, she is going ham on that typewriter. And unfortunately, we're going to skip the scene where BJ goes ham on her. It always pays to go back where you came from. Love the detail of BJ's hands and clothes being a little wet after exiting the water. It's also levels like this that make me realize that BJ should pursue a career in freediving. My man would shatter the freediving world record like it is nothing. It doesn't take long to enter the final battle arena of this level, and I'm not going to waste your time going over this battle arena. You already know what you're getting yourself into. Amazing level design, great gunplay, great experience. That's the New Order in a nutshell, honestly.
Clean? Anyone following you? No. No? What do you mean no? Yes?
Okay, you said a lot of stupid things, Fergus, but this might take the cake.
Bangman's a lip up.
I'll be honest, this guy has got some good one-liners. This level is without a doubt one of the best in the game. It's just you killing bad guys with big crunchy guns in a bunch of cramped hallways in a submarine deep underwater. The gameplay is so satisfying here. I could play it forever. Oh, I love this game. It was curiosity that indeed killed the cat. This place looks so awesome. That can only mean one thing. God bless the environment artists. What would have happened if the platform just kept on rising and splatted the three of us? What would be the plan then? Would be an awkward way to end the game. Before I say anything, let me just say that this is a pretty awesome level concept. The level takes place on a gigantic bridge connecting Gibraltar to Africa. Don't understand why you couldn't have dropped me off next to the train. At least then we could have skipped this level. Yeah, about that. Despite the awesome concept, I don't know if I like this level too much. It can be pretty annoying at times due to the difficulty in traversal and the level layout. This makes the level not the smoothest. I'm also not too fond of the enemy placements and combat encounters in this level. Anyone who's played the level will know what I'm talking about. I wonder what happens if you don't shoot them. Well, I don't really have the patience to find out, so boop! This section right here is this level in a nutshell. It is the epitome of dog poo-poo. Bad traversal, bad and annoying level design and geography, which in turn makes the enemies feel annoying. This is what I was talking about at the beginning when I said that I have no idea what I'm doing when lockpicking. I'm just putting in random inputs and hoping for the best. Oh yeah, cinematic shot. Ooh, hello buddy, how you doing? Was that necessary? Was that also necessary? Anyway, you see that buddy? You're dead and I'm not.
Oh, thank God you're still alive!
I had to jinx it. I guess this is also kinda Wyatt's fault considering he also jinxed it by expressing how relieved he was for us to be alive.
I was a kid. The man I looked up to most was my wrestling coach, Coach Anderson.
Your wrestling coach Anderson, you say? Was he good at spinebusters? Bro, how did they mobilize this many soldiers to this broken ass bridge on such short notice. They just don't stop. I feel like I've slaughtered a small army here today. Ah, I need to be in the Fergus timeline to open this box. What's in it, I wonder? What's in the box? Fergus! What's in the box? Why does everyone here other than BJ have yellow shoes? They couldn't come up with a better dress code for an off-world lunar base? Bro, what's happening to the guy behind BJ? My man is once again sleeping. I love how candid the location indicator is here at the start. It just straight up says the moon. God bless the environment artists. That's not only for the exterior but also the interior of this level. The inside of this base looks gorgeous. Ooh, the audio design is excellent. It's so satisfying. I'd once again just like to point out how I think that audio design is honestly the most underrated aspect of video games. One thing in particular that I love that most FPS games do is when you fire a shotgun, you can hear the shells hit the floor.
What's your status?
Well, I'm on the motherfucking moon.
I love BJ. It is mandatory for me to screw up this section at least once every time I replay this level. Is that me? Come on, dude, I was just admiring myself. My man must have had the toughest shift of his life if he's sleeping through me literally melting metal like 2 meters away from his bed. While we are here, I would also like to just say that the idea of guns that don't use bullets but instead rechargeable energy is pretty awesome. It really helps to get across the idea that technology has advanced pretty rapidly while BJ was asleep. Another thing that helps get that point across is, you know, the fact that the goddamn moon has been settled on. Such an amazing concept for a level, by the way. A lunar base on the surface of the moon. Yeah, that is pretty awesome. God bless the environment artists. Love the gravity physics in this section. Surely this can't be possible. Those stupid flying potatoes, they have followed me off of the earth. That's it. I can't do this. I must go. My people need me. Look at that. They're following me all the way to the entrance. They'd enter inside if they could. It's like they were made to be as annoying as possible. Look at how sad it is at the fact that it can't annoy me anymore. This level really is just eye candy, isn't it? The range and colors used makes this level so appealing to look at. We got away with one there, to be honest. The level of anger that this guy imbues with his voice ensures that I always laugh whenever I hear this line.
Sieh an. Ein Terrorist will meine Lieferungen stoppen. Was nicht versteht, meine Lieferungen kommen immer an!
It's comical how angry he is. I just find it so funny. What would have happened if the ship, you know, took off without BJ here? The game just ends with BJ stuck on the moon, then the rest of the gang have to find a way to get him off the moon. To be fair, that's not a bad idea for a sequel. And if it happened, then maybe we'd finally, you know, see somebody other than BJ get some actual work done around here. This guy might have the most polished looking chin of any video game character I've ever seen. It's like half the budget went towards designing this guy's chin. Okay, BJ, I think that's enough. BJ,
Turns your stomach. Turns your hair white.
Yeah, I think he's dead. We're nearing the end of the game, slowly but surely. Now, we have the first of 2 return missions, i.e. revisiting older levels, with this one being the return to the London Nautica. But instead of climbing up it, we're descending down it. Yo, that guy was wearing some sick glasses. Wish you could take them. I'm sure he wouldn't mind. Well, not much he could do even if he did mind. Holy everything. God bless the damn environment artists. What is this? It should be illegal to make something this beautiful. Just take everything I said about the opening shot of Eisenwald Prison and multiply it tenfold. The time of day, the weather, the art design, the buildings, the roads, the smoke coming out of the chimneys, the choice of what to fill the environment with, just everything. Everything about all of this, it is simply awe-inspiring. Every time I replay this level, I just stand here and take everything in. I could look at it forever. One of my favorite shots in gaming. I love it. You can even see more of the city at the back, here in the center and over there on the left, where the river is flowing. Nice detail here, you can see the road you used on your way here the first time you came, before, you know, you exploded the main entrance. It's so beautiful, I wanted to see it in person. Interior cramped battle arenas, chef's kiss. It's that same map that the Resistance had at the base. Wonder what the map on the right is. Let's take a moment to appreciate the beautiful wall decorating that I have done. Well, this looks familiar. Helicopter, helicopter. Okay, no. Once again, I have to mention the audio design. The water is always soothing and enchanting. What on earth is going on that board? I do not approve of this. AS Math scarred me for life. Speaking of AS Math, a little story. So, an exam was coming up. This was around COVID time, so the test was held online, meaning me and the boys hopped onto a call to do it together. We're doing it, and then, out of nowhere, one of my friends finds the answers online. We were ecstatic. We put on some lo-fi, chilled, and wrote the answers at our own pace. We were off the hook, or so we thought. Result day comes, and there's good news and there's bad news. The good news is that it turns out that one of us got the highest score in the class, but the bad news is that the score in question was 7 out of 80 or something like that, and the rest of us got similar scores to that. That's less than 10% while cheating, but it gets worse. Our friend who found the answers, he I have no idea how, but he got 2 out of 80. Yeah, I don't know how that happened. I don't know how any of this happened. To this day, I still have no idea how we managed something this stupid. Like, me and my friend group are pretty stupid people, but this was breaking new ground even for us. Man, what must the teacher have thought while marking the test? They didn't even know we cheated. I'm not gonna say the phrase again, but I just wanted to shout out the right side of the environment in this level. Looks as gorgeous as the rest. Love the double-decker bus and little English houses at the bottom, really cute. And so we come to, I think, the first proper boss fight in this game, the London Monitor. It's back to take revenge on me for annoying it in the opening level. Pretty cool boss fight. You hide while it attacks, then deal damage when it's vulnerable, while it's charging up its attacks. Take out all of its missile launchers, then go in for the kill. The devs give you these underground sections to recharge and restock, which is pretty handy, but be careful, with enough damage they can collapse. Also, the size of this thing is kinda crazy. Just look at it, it's like a skyscraper, and you have to fight it, despite pretty much being an ant in this situation. Now this is what you call David vs Goliath. The sheer ridiculousness of this mismatch in size really amplifies this fight, and the fact that the ant wins the fight is even crazier. Like how the road they used to leave is the same road we used to arrive to the Nautica the first time we came. I don't know if it's just me, but I feel like Klaus is starting to like and respect BJ at this point, and it makes me happy to see it. On a side note, I paused the clip I captured at this exact frame unintentionally, and I don't know what to say. BJ looks like he's about to drop the fattest mixtape of 1960. He seems to be enjoying this a bit too much, considering the resistance is about to crumble. Still though, you got to respect him for grinding out a side hustle. The only thing left now is for him to make a dropshipping tutorial. The music is fire. Okay, that wasn't that bad, let's be honest. Let me have this one.
If you get here quickly, we can capture it and bring our people back. Just keep moving. Hurry!
Yeah, the music here definitely elevates this section and makes it feel high stakes. Which it is. Doggy? It's been a while. This level pretty much throws everything the game has at you.
Remember this place? Feels like yesterday.
It's that one section at the end of the first level, right before falling into Deadset's lab. Pretty cool detail. Man, I remember back in the day, there was a glitch you could exploit to get the achievement for finishing the game on the highest difficulty. Normally, the achievement would require you to finish the entire game on Uber difficulty, but for some reason, you could still get it by completing only this level on Uber. So I can just remember playing this level really conservatively to get it. Once again, have to mention the music. Let's just do that. Didn't I just throw a grenade in there? Got some Frau Angle POV. That has got to be some of the worst facial hair I've ever seen. I can confirm, sir, that your ear tastes as bad as your facial hair looks. Also, first time I think I've seen a video game protagonist bite somebody's ear off. Wolfenstein continuing its streak of being the first to do something. Boop! Boop! BJ, I don't know if you should be doing that while in an elevator. Why did Anya just jump over BJ like he was a bag of potatoes? Well, he might as well have been, considering they've just shown him as much respect as a bag of potatoes. Nobody even bothered to help him up.
This elevator has seen better days.
Yeah, I think I know who's to blame. Yeah, this is pretty badass. We're at the very tail end of the game now, so I thought it would be a good idea to squeeze in a little tier list of all the levels before the final showdown. This shouldn't come as a surprise to anybody who knows me because, ooh boy, I do love me some tier lists. Okay, we got all the levels here. We're ready for the tier list. I'll just go in order. We got Deadset's compound, which is, yeah, it's the best level in the game. I don't think there's any argument when it comes to that, where it's going. Asylum, I think it's a pretty solid level. I like it quite a lot. Short and sweet. B, yeah, very good. A New World, I love the environment. Like I said, I gushed over it a lot in that section. I think it has, well, actually no, the best scene in the game I was talking about. That was in the Asylum part. No, that doesn't count as the New World, sorry. But still, very good. I don't know why it has this as its photo though. Isn't that the guy that BJ nearly decapitates with the chainsaw at the beginning, or was that something else that I can't make out? Anyway, it doesn't matter, but I think New World is really cool. The train sequence is cool at the end. Again, it reminds me of Full Metal Alchemist and the Broken Angel. Love that game. I haven't played in a while. Oh, I should. I will in the future. Eiswald Prison, architecture, level design. It's the best. It's so good. It's the second best level in the game. Or maybe... No, it's the second best. Also, this isn't like whichever comes here is the best or whichever is here is the second best. It's not like that. This is, I think, the first base level. Again, I'm not going to put any of the base levels that high. They're not bad, but they're not really levels. They're mini levels. They're just hub areas. So I'll put it into D. It's not bad, but like that's probably where it deserves to be. London Nautica, really nice level. Hate the flying potatoes. Again, another base level. They should go there. Camp Belice. I used to think it was called Camp Belka, but in the most recent, while capturing footage for this video, I found out that Anya pronounces it Camp Belice. So Camp Belice. There's no firearms. How can you do that? It has no firearms in a Wolfenstein game. A level has no firearms. I'm not counting that weird ass robot at the end. See, I'm sorry. It just no. What the hell is this? Wait, actually, what is that? This is U-boat, Berlin Catacombs. Oh, it's the other base level. Okay, sorry. And the last base level is under attack. Okay, this one. Yeah, okay, under attack. This is pretty cool. It's basically a one battle zone level, but I think it's really good. It doesn't deserve A. I think it's B. Why is... Okay, never mind. That's after that. Okay, sorry. I forgot the... for a second I thought Gibraltar Bridge was missing, but no, it's here. U-boat S. It's awesome. I don't like Gibraltar Bridge. I think it's a really clumsy level. It can be really frustrating and annoying. Lunar Base, the concept is so awesome. I love it so much. Let's just go ahead and put... no, it should be here. Okay, we're left with 2, and Return to London Nautica. I don't think it's S. I don't think it has it has one of the best environments I've seen in any game, but I don't think that's enough to make it S. Yeah, I love Return to London Nautica, but it's probably A. Return to Dead Set's Compound. Like a really, really, really high B, I think. I really like it, but I don't think it's better than these. I think, yeah, that's pretty... Yeah, I'm happy with that. I think that's pretty accurate. Well, in terms of my opinions, I think it's really accurate, but yeah, that's pretty cool. So here they finally show the full extent of how the character you sacrificed at the start of the game dies, and I'm not going to show it. It's straight up just uncomfortable and disgusting to watch. This right here is one of the biggest reasons why I think that Wyatt Living has to be the canon route. The conversation that BJ has here is so much more fitting and satisfying when Fergus is the one he's talking to. And so begins the second boss of the game, aka the final boss. It's got 2 phases. First one involves you shooting down these 2 blimps with these giant cannons, which in turn overwhelms Mr. Nutsackface here, forcing him to run away to the underground. Then, it's time to stalk up and confront him. By confronting him, what I actually mean is to just unload 57 rounds of rockets on him until he is bye-bye. There we go, it worked.
Never leave it to you. Fine. I will cut you standing.
How can you get more badass? Tormenting your tormentor never ends well.
So colorful.
Captain, we are in position. The nuclear cannon is armed. Permission to fire?
A mighty woman with a torch, whose flame is the imprisoned lightning. And her name, Mother of Exile. Timmy, you're tired. You're poor. You've huddled masses yearning to breathe free. The wretched refuse of your teeming shore. Send these. The homeless, tempest-tossed, to me.
Can you hear me, Captain? Am I clear to fire?
You're clear.
And that is Wolfenstein: The New Order. Absolutely incredible, even after all these years. I really hope you understand now why this game is as important as it is. It really is just the perfect shooter. I love everything about this game, man. Pretty much all the levels are incredible, with some being straight up masterpieces. The soundtrack is composed by Mick Gordon, that's all you need to know. The environments are some of the absolute greatest I've ever seen in any video game. Same goes for the art design. The audio design is superb and goes to show why audio is one of, if not the most overlooked and underrated parts of video games. The story is absolutely brilliant with fantastic characters, a great plot, incredible voice acting. And then we get to the gameplay. Oh my gosh, the gameplay. The level design mixed in with some of the best shooting ever and complemented by everything else comes together to create inarguably not only one of the greatest first-person shooters of all time, but also one of the most important first-person shooters of all time. It accomplished so much by being different. It showed that it was possible to make a top quality and successful game by going back to your roots. And with that, it ushered in a chain of events that ignited the first-person shooter genre. Because without this game, id Software wouldn't have gone on to make Doom 2016 the game that it is. It was originally planned to be another military shooter COD clone, but after the New Order, i.e. a reboot of one of the two Godfather series of the FPS genre, that also incorporated old school game design along with new innovations, received the success and praise that it did, they decided to give the same treatment to the other Godfather series in question. If Doom 2016 doesn't come out, the subgenre known as boomer shooters may not exist, and I don't think I need to explain how much good has come out of the boomer shooter genre. Finally, and most importantly, without Doom 2016, we wouldn't have gotten, and I say this with no hyperbole whatsoever, the greatest first-person shooter ever made, Doom Eternal. I don't think I need to explain the impact and influence that Doom 2016 and Doom Eternal have had on the FPS genre, and also, without Doom 2016 and Eternal, we wouldn't be getting the upcoming Doom the Dark Ages, which is sure to be another all-timer of a game. The bottom line of all of this is that a lot of the best things to come out of the FPS genre in the last 10 years, and honestly by the looks of things, a lot of the best things that will continue to come out of the FPS genre in the future is thanks to the existence of Wolfenstein: The New Order. You really could make the argument that Wolfenstein is the most important first-person shooter series of all time, as without it so much would simply not exist. At the beginning of the FPS genre, Wolfenstein 3D walked so that Doom could run and usher in the dawn of the FPS genre. Over 2 decades later, Wolfenstein: The New Order ran so that Doom 2016 could sprint and usher in the rebirth of the FPS genre. Thank you all so much for watching. I sincerely appreciate it. I would love it if you liked, commented your thoughts, and subscribed to the channel, as they help me out a ton. Have an amazing rest of your day wherever you are, and goodbye.